And we are live, so hello guys, and welcome to NodeRED live stream, in which we're going to do some live programming in NodeRED, obviously. Want to move my heating from one server to another. It's going to be literally from this side of the desk to this side of the desk, and this is where it's going to live. And I'm going to do it live. I've got some upgrades. I want to add Google Home because obviously the G bridge is no longer available. I'm not using the LAN version of it, and I decided to go with Nora, so I'm going to give it a go and see how it works. And I will implement a couple of new features, at least hope to implement a couple of new features, which is going to be interface for tracing different sensors and support for multiple sensors. So you will see how I would approach the problem, whether I will solve the problem, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two, or you will kind of see how I work, and maybe I get something out of it, or maybe you will help me. I don't know. It's usually quite stressing to do this because I love watching people do this, like not in like a tutorial way, but when they rehearsed everything. But I love doing this when I see them trying to figure out the solution to something. It's very valuable, and I think I'll try to do this a little bit more often, so you could guys benefit as well. So that's definitely the plan. No, did he? Okay, well, I've got competition. You can always put two, and it's not going to be most interesting stream. Let's face it. It's going to be coding, so what can I say? It's a code. So I've got a couple of things set up, so I'll walk you through. So let's take a look at my NodeRED setup in here. This is the old server right now, and this is the heating system I've been using for 2 years with half a day downtime. That's better than actual Nest. So I take proud of this. Only everything crashed just once, so that was the only issue with it. He's doing marathon stream today. Okay, well, you can pop in between. I won't take against you. So there is a couple of things. Obviously, like for example, these are here. This is connected to the G bridge, and this is for the G bridge as well. And I don't even remember some of it. And considering that this is 2 years old, it's going to be some sloppy code in here. So I'm kind of looking to re-import most of it and kind of redo bits, improve the code, and try to make it a little bit more organized. At least that's the plan. Obviously, that's going to be still connected to my heating, and when the final version is done, then I can do the final version. So that's kind of the plan. So to do this, I will need to import this. So let's go to export settings. Current flow, we're gonna do the whole thing, and we're just gonna copy it to clipboard. And I have this in my new. Now I need to do one more thing because I have an instance in here I was working on, and I just need to disable this. No, not delete. Damn it! I wanted to disable this. Done. And we're gonna start from scratch. This is where I discovered that I want to do it from scratch. So we're going to now import the code. Import, and we have it here. So everything's set. I think I've done most of the configuration. Oh no, I've not done the configuration. So we'll have to reconfigure it for the new server. So my Sonoff is already reconfigured. So let's access the Sonoff as well. And I was heating local, I think. Good tip for you guys, the best way to memorize which Sonoff is which, give it a host name, something relevant. I know this is connected to my heating, and it will give you all the parameters, so you don't have to look up the, what is it called? The IP, that's the one. So yeah. So we're gonna, this is already reconfigured, so if you want to switch this, obviously you have to go to configuration, and you need to configure the MQTT which I'm using. So it's just a link over the local network, and I have my topics and prefix swapped around. So if you don't swap it around, that's it's my preference, so you don't have to follow this actually. And you get all that information here configured within your server. And if you want to have a kind of hint of what's coming into your server, then the best way is to open the console. And I'll give you a inputs of everything that you need to do. It's all the temperature settings and where it goes, so where you can access that information. So this is quite useful. All right, so we have this imported in here. So this has been deployed, and we can start editing because right now half of that stuff isn't connecting. So I've actually on my live stream that looks cleaner than on my monitor. This is like a spare monitor for work, and that's not very pretty. And actually, this is the weird thing. You can see in here grid on the live stream, but I can't see the grid in here. I think the resolution of the screen is really poor. Ugh. So let's zoom in a little bit, and we'll start to. First, we're gonna clean up. There's stuff that we definitely don't need. So I don't need Google Home temperature because that's not going to how it's gonna work. Now, this is also sending ambient and humidity to Google Home, so we can get rid of this. This is also sending it to GBridge. I can get rid of this. And I think that was a GBridge as well. Yes, and I can get rid of this. Obviously, because I did, and this is a Google Home in here. That's why it's good to leave the comments. So when you look into your older stuff, you kind of know where to look for things. So here is also Google Bridge updates. So we're gonna delete this, and I'm not going to need that relay as well. In here I have some setup that I did for Tasca. I never actually did a tutorial on this, so I will need to revisit this later. I'm just going to keep this even though this is not being usable, and this is just a test, so I can delete this. So just gonna keep it in here. So we've cleaned it up, it looks a little bit better now. We have our preferences, so let's move preferences to the top. And I know I've got some new configuration nodes that I just want to delete and just create a user interface again. So hello Dustin, how are you doing? Hope you're well. So let's go to configuration nodes, and what is fruitcake? I know, it's one of the tutorials, I kind of don't need it, and I don't need MQTT and GBridge, so I don't need the GBridge, delete. I don't need spare Nora config, delete. I don't need this MQTT, delete. And TSL GBridge, I can just also get rid of this and get rid of this. Anything else? There's a couple of groups that I probably need to organize in my dashboard. So let's revisit that. Hello, Patrick. How are you doing? And hello, Robert. You're going to enjoy this one. I know you dropped me an email. So yeah, we're doing basically what you've asked in the email. So I've got rid of the config node. So let's jump into the debug. It's going to be lots of nasty messages. So let's just switch it to current flow. There's lots of mistakes that we're going to fix in a second. And no need for a heating system at the moment. I know this is the counterintuitive. You don't want to do this in winter. You don't want this when you need the heating, because if you break something, obviously, this is not ideal. You want to pick a day when it's nice, and you know, if you mess up, it's okay. It's totally okay, and you can get back to it later. So that's why I was postponing this, because I don't want to get suicidal. My wife would have killed me if I leave her without heating. The only instant it happened, it was I was in Manchester, which is like 130 miles away from home, and it wasn't even NodeRED, entire Raspberry Pi went offline, and I didn't know exactly what happened because I couldn't SSH to it or something. So I was just like, okay, could you do this? Could you do this? Nothing worked. Now, in hindsight, I know exactly what happened. It was my USB hub, which was powering the Raspberry Pi, just died. I could not predict this. So I figured out how to reconnect it, and it worked within a couple of hours. But yeah, the earful I had because of it, it was just amazing. So you do not want to do this when you need your heating. Do it on a spare server if you can. Obviously, not everyone can afford this, I understand. Did I say hello, Anthony? Might not have said that, so I'm just going to say hi, Anthony, as well. And Hakan, hello, how are you doing? So I think I've welcomed everyone. So let's configure the, by default, this is the temperature. I've changed the name of the son of today. So let's go, yeah, it's called thermostat, so I need to update this. So this is the temperature of the Sonoff. So I have Sonoff basic. Okay, I can actually use this camera, so we can do this. We can do this. So I have a sort of basic with this. Where's the old one? I'm sure I had a sort of basic somewhere. The old version. No. I was pretty sure I had a spare one. Okay, never mind. So I have a sort of just a basic version like this, right? And it has a DHT11 on it. It's not advanced temperature sensor. It doesn't have to be the temp. Oh, my nose is really itchy. The temperature obviously is going to be, you know, within plus temperature. You want to keep the heating on probably entire season with the temperature never dipping below 6 degrees because it's bad for the moisture and stuff like that. So that's the reason for it. So I have a DHT11. It has a range of from I think 0 till 40, which is more than enough. And accuracy is 2%. Like honestly, people that really precious about half a degree or something like that, you cannot feel this. I mean, maybe you can. I can't. I can't be bothered. 1 degree accuracy. I'm absolutely fine with this. So we've updated this, and there's a new update also that we can parse now a JSON, which when I've created that you couldn't do it. So we probably have to look at this and make sure that you know, it gets converted correctly. So that's updated. I'm doing it on all this is old one. So I'm just going to cancel this because I've imported this. I can close this, leave no changes, yes. And we're gonna go to the new one. This is where I wanted to have this updated. Okay, so we have this updated, and we're gonna just update the name in a control son of and apply the correct configuration for MQTT. Okay, so we've re-imported this, and now we can control this. So you can see in can I kind of like, let's go to the main interface. This is by the way, this is the write-up. So if you're interested in this, I have a 30-year-old heating system. I'm looking to upgrade at some point, maybe when I'm rich. And yeah, I've added this on off, connected these wires together, and it works. And you can link it to Amazon Echo and Google devices. And everything is described in here. So if you want it, I'm gonna re-link it on your thing. Hello, Richard. How are you doing? Bawimy się termostatem. So that's the write-up. I said we're going to jump now to a my layout, and let's have a look if everything is okay in my dashboard. Okay, so the dashboard layout is okay. It's just I have some incorrect readings, right? So there is a chart, and the chart is updating correctly, and I have a heating that's right now displaying not a number message. None is not a number. So we're gonna fix this. So this is also, I don't need anything else. I don't need Alexa is not configured, so let's give it. I've got 3 configurations, so let's fix that as well. We're going to go to configuration nodes, and okay, definitely. Oh, which one was it? I think it was this one. Really, and I don't need this configuration as well. So let's deploy it, and let's link my device. Reset. Come on. I think I need to redeploy it. Yeah, okay, so it's heating. That's okay. No auto acknowledge because we want to query the server and send the configuration back. Usually I have an auto acknowledge for all other stuff. So I think we fixed most of the things now. Alexa response, it's automatic. Okay, right, so that more or less should be working. So let's jump in here, and now if I'm gonna move here, I still have a couple of issues. Oh, and it works now. So if I'm gonna go over this, it should actually update the son of as well. So let's wait a couple of moments. It takes 5 seconds to update. That's the refresh rate, it's fine. And the son of should be on. So it works. So we re-imported it correctly, reapplied the settings. So now we can start playing. So I don't know what you looks very complicated. It's not, it's just it is complicated. Maybe that's why I'm streamlining it, because I'm gonna add some sensors and stuff like that. So in here I have a sensor board. I've talked about sensor boards some. Let me just open it. Sensor board. This is where I'm gonna have a couple of different temperature readers. So I could have different temperature sensors, and I can name them around 1, 2, 3, and I can switch tracing. So this is the board itself. It has 1, 2, and there is, I think, thermal. Another one is detecting the temperature somewhere here. There's 3 temperature readings that you can take, so I can imitate 3 different rooms. But also I'm gonna be using one of those, which is this is a Tuya. This is Tuya. Yeah, this is a Tuya temperature sensor, and I can link it either directly with CC 2531, the Zigbee USB stick, or I can link it as I did in my previous video when I was talking about what is it? So I'm gonna link you this one as well, so you could. Hello, Ron. How are you doing? So I can link it with a Zigbee bridge, because now this coming next month, I already got an email. I don't know the pricing yet, but this links. I'm gonna send it to you. This links not only to some of sensors, but I was able to hook up Tuya, and thanks to a DDD, so I can send. Did I send? Yeah, I sent it to you. So, but thanks to my yesterday's discovery, which was a eWilling API, you can actually get all the information from Zigbee bridge without hacking anything, that including a temperature. So that's another resource for you to read, so you can have a look. So we're gonna get that connected as well on live. So we're gonna have a couple of sensors connected to Raspberry Pi. We're gonna have a wireless sensor, and obviously the one linked up to the son of itself, the HD11, the flashed with this mode. So that's kind of the plan. So let's turn off the heating. Heating should be off. It is off. Now it's cool. So, and let's go to the correct tab. Now, right now, I don't need to send any information live to my server, but I want something to kind of get each temperature, and the temperature is going to be delivered via different ways. So there's going to be different ways of importing it. But my idea is for each temperature reading, have a topic which is going to specify the room, and then create a list where that's going to be kept, probably in the flow. So we're going to need to code all this. So right now, I know I'm going to need a function node, right? So we're going to get ourselves a function node. And in this function node, we're going to, this is for temperature. Right. Okay. And now to make stuff easier, I prepared the second screen where we're gonna actually code this. So this should be a little bit more visible for you. Let me just increase the size, something maybe like this. Is that readable for you guys? Hello, Sophie, how are you doing? We know that's gonna be going by the topics. So we're gonna need a topic and we're gonna need the value. So we're gonna have variables, topic, and that's gonna be our message topic. And we're gonna have our payload. So that's gonna be temperature. And that's usually stored in, it could be a different value. So right now I'm just going to leave it as payload temp. That might not be correct, and we might need to edit this. And we, and we might need to get the value of the humidity. So we're going to do the same. Okay, so we have this. So each time we have a payload, and we're gonna store this, and we need to have a way to store it. So we want to get this in a variable, so, or in a flow variable. So we can do it manually. So you can have like if conditions for each topic. So for each room, you could have a different flow. So let's do that. So if topic. Or actually, should we go with a case? maybe it doesn't matter, to be honest, but if topic equals, I'll say bedroom, then we're gonna store this in a bedroom situation. So you have to think ahead how you want to organize your data. So I want to have for each, hello Lloyd, how are you doing? You want to think how you want to store your data. So do I want to store it? I probably want to store it per each room. So my variables would contain, it's going to be an object. The object is going to contain the room name, and it's going to contain the temperatures, because later on when I want to access this, it's going to be easy if I have a indexing by room. So I want to create a payload. So we can write should we do the function, because we're going to be doing it every time for everything. So let's do a function. Function is a piece of code that you're going to execute later. So we're going to have function. We're going to have store room temp, room data, and that's going to take a room name, room, temperature, and humidity. So those are our values. And now for each function we have to provide a room name, and that room name is going to be stored in a data. So let's create an object. So let data be, and let's create an object. Why does it give me a, and in this object we're gonna have obviously a room, and our value is gonna be room. It's the value from here, so we're gonna pass the room and it's gonna be stored here. We're gonna have a temperature, so we're gonna have temp, that's the key, and the value obviously it's gonna be temperature. And lastly we're gonna have a humidity, and the same. Okay, so that's going to get stored in a data right now, and we want to return this data. The question is, do we want function to send that information back to our thread, or do we want a function to send it straight away to a room? And because I know I'm not going to do anything else with this, I'm just going to send that data straight away as a flow variable. So I can do so we have a data compose that we need to store now in the rooms that's corresponded with the room name. So we want to have a flow.set, and then we want to store it in a flow that has the same name as a room. So we're going to use room, because that's where we're going to pass the name, and we want to pass the entire piece of data, so entire this bed, we want to add data. Okay, and this is our function. The function doesn't really have to return anything, but if you want to have this for purpose of troubleshooting, then CC1352, how much was that CC1352p, Patrick? I'm interested. And so if you want to return it, I'll show you how it works. We can just display it as a parent, so return. So we could see that something happened, and we want to return data. Okay, so we have a function, and now each time something happens, we can just execute this function, and we're gonna store that in a correct location, and we're going to apply that to each room. So if topic room equals the bedroom, then we want to do the store room data function, and we want to pass 3 values. So we want to have a room name, obviously that's going to be topic, because the topic is bedroom, so we want to have a topic here. Topic. Now we need to pass the temperature, which is temperature, and we need to pass the humidity. Yeah, okay, instead of writing all of this, again in here for each row. We just have to do function, and that's it, we're done. So, and if you want to get any feedback for troubleshooting, you can do, what was it, node warning, I think, but we can just do message.log equals, don't know if a log is allowed actually, maybe data, let's see, data equals, oh, because this is, sorry, this also returns value, so we need to store this value somewhere. So this let equals, no, sorry, let equals, where is it? Let's say x, doesn't matter, right now it's going to be destroy that data. And if you want to read what it returned, then you just need to use that same value. So right now, if we're gonna have a set of values from bedroom, it's gonna execute this function, store that in our flow, and return us message data which we can read. So we can test this. So let's go back to the main thing. We have it here. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. And we need to return the message. If you want, we return message if you want to get that data back. So let's give it a go. I'm gonna need a debug. If you hold Control and press on mouse, you get mouse left, you get this search. So I'm gonna need debug because I'm not using payload. I'm using a message data. I need to switch to complete object. And I need inject, sorry, and we're gonna need to pass a couple of things. So it's best that we're gonna compose this thing. So we need to change it to JSON. We can go to here, and oh no, we can just do this way because topic is bedroom. Uppercase bedroom. And payloads is gonna be a like this. So let's open this up, and we have a temperature. Is it temp? We use temp, sorry. So it's temperature, and that's our key. And let's say the temperature is gonna be 20 degrees, and we have humidity. And that's going to be, let's say, 34%. Okay, so this is our payload. It's done. And right now, if we're going to switch to debug mode, when I deploy this, I'm going to get rid of this. Now I should have a couple of things that's going to happen. In here, we're going to get a payload with bedroom. So in here, it's going to be a new variable bedroom. It's going to be created, and it's going to store the details we just assigned. And also, we're going to receive in a debug, we're going to receive information about the temperature. So let's give it a go. Okay, we have our message object. We have our data, and the data is this object in here, which is a room, bedroom, temperature, and humidity. Everything's correct. Expensive, I think it was 60 to 70. Wow. Okay, well, I have a Combi 2 stick, and I'm gonna give it a go at some point and see how that works. Okay, and as I promised, we're gonna get to here and refresh. And as you can see, we have a bedroom entry. Now in a bedroom, we have a bedroom, we have a temperature value, and we have a humidity. If we're going to change to bedroom 1, or kitchen, let's say kitchen, right, and deploy this, we're gonna receive, we're not going to receive kitchen because we need to create this one for kitchen. So we need to replicate this for kitchen and change it to kitchen. And we're gonna replicate this again and do it, let's say 3 different sensors. I guess that's gonna be 4 in total. I don't know, bedroom, kitchen, living room. Okay, so now if we're going to execute this, we're gonna have an entry for kitchen, as you can see in here. It says the same set of information, and we're gonna create one entry also for living room. And let's have a look. And we have a living room. So right now we have 3 different variables right now with some temperature we can play. That gives us a start. So now you know how to receive the temperature and how to store it and how to access it. Now, when you want to access this, let's switch to the code. You can use a function. So this one we're gonna leave it for now. But if you want to store this, if you want to access, then I could do it something like this: flow get the name of the room. So in here, then let's say we want bedroom. And we're gonna store this in a variable bedroom. And now we're gonna receive everything that is in that bedroom. So you're gonna receive information about the room, temperature, and humidity, right, like in here. But if you want to get just the temperature, use just the temperature, then you do something like this. Once you get that stored as a bedroom, then your temperature is gonna be temp. It's going to be stored in bedroom dot temp, because if you look at our part again in here, it is stored in the variable flow variable bedroom, and it's stored in this way that the temperature is here just a child object of that. So if you're gonna do and click on this path, it will give you the exactly path in here we have. So I'm gonna paste it. It's just a temperature and belongs to the object bedroom. Okay. Any questions? Obviously, at any point, just ask and I'll explain. So now we know how to store, and this way, obviously, you can store with this piece of code, you can store any number of sensors right now. We covered it. All you have to do is just index your rooms. So you have to create a if condition for every room and just put the sensors there. So I promise we're gonna hook it up this one, and we're gonna hook it up the sensor board. So let's take a look. Excuse me. Let's take a look how the sensor board is getting the information. And like in here, I've got the sensor board. So it has some values, right? I have internal temperature, barometric temperature, internal humidity, external temperature, barometric pressure, brightness, and some information about the board itself, right? So those are the information I can get from that board. And in order to get that in here, I have a Python script. So in this case, it uses a Python script and it kind of splits that into a different things. So we can actually just simply copy this and move it to my setup. Okay, that checks every 5 seconds. It checks the temperature. Obviously, I'm gonna not need it every 5 seconds, so let's slow it down to 30 seconds. Which later on I'm gonna do even slower to, let's say, I'll give it every 5 minutes. Then your hysteresis. Hysteresis, it's a oscillation of your system up and down. Hi Joey, is the flow object detected when NodeRED restarts? Now, if the flow objects, they are, I think by default, not stored, so they would be wiped, but you can enable this. If you go to my tutorial, persisting variables, I'm gonna send you a link for that. Oh no. Let's have a look. I have it somewhere. Preserving variables in NodeRED. So you have to enable this, and it will store your variables from the memory. So all of that in here is going to be stored, and if you restart or lose the data, it's going to be a couple of seconds prior to that event. You're going to have your snapshot of your data. So I've copied that, and it's going to execute my sensor hub. This is just a Python script I've taken from the wiki from the sensor board, and it basically says, hey, I2C, check all the sensors, give me your readings, and post the reading back as a printout, and then I have to format it into a JSON, and then get that data in a specific format. So it takes, this is the external sensors, average files, otherwise it says, okay, so it checks all that information and it sends back. So I'll show you how the data looks like and how we can import this. So let's connect this first through, then it passes to the first one. So we're gonna get that from a first. Now barometric sensor, if it's true, that's first one as well. and external sensors. I think there was more than one option. Otherwise, on first. Okay, so all of the 3 sensors, they're gonna supply to the same payload. I'm just gonna have a look how it looks like. So let's deploy this. Go to debug, and let's clear this. And in a moment, I'm gonna assign a different topic for each set of parameters. And that means that we can actually trigger this, and you don't have to wait. So we received 3 different readings, right? And you can see all the values that we have in here right now. I actually multiplied them by, I didn't intend to, because I forgot that I composed the correct payload in the Python script. So Python delivers the whole thing. So actually I can just get it from, you know what, I'm just gonna do this because it's not needed, because I've composed that in the script. So I'm just gonna do like this. And then we're not going to have 3 payloads, we're just gonna have 1. So let's deploy this again. That's what we needed. So we have an internal temperature, we have an external temperature, and we have a barometric temperature. So we have 3 different temperature, and we're gonna assign kitchen, bedroom, and living room for each. So we need to split this. Obviously, if you have a different sensors, and for example, you query them via MQTT, you can just assign your custom topics here. So I would just put the extra node and override the topic or whatever at this point, and that information would travel from the MQTT, go as extra topic, and then being posted to my this function here that separates it. So what we're gonna do is I'm just going to get a small function, and we're gonna assign topics. And we're gonna screen go here. So we know we're gonna get information in different values. So I'm gonna be copying it. I don't need that on the screen, but external temperatures. So let's start with the external temperature. For next, that's not what I needed. Okay, sorry. Temp. And that's it stored with the message payload external temperature. Okay, and I need to set it to JavaScript so we could have pretty colors. Now we need, instead of mapping it this way to this value, let's name it. That's going to be our bedroom temperature. Okay, now we need to copy this and paste it 2 times, because we're gonna have a kitchen and we're gonna have a living room. Kitchen and living room. Okay, and we have external, internal temperature. So let's change this to int, and we have a barometric sensor. So once you got the data in your script, then you have to just connect all together. So what you're gonna have, we could have for loop, or we could split into 3 different. I think I'm gonna split into 3 different messages. So we're gonna have a message 1, and I'm gonna name them bedroom. So the bedroom. No, not temp, var bedroom, var kitchen, not temp, autocomplete, and var living room. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna return all those 3 values. So return bedroom, kitchen, and living room. Okay, and now that's going to return to 3 different. Let me show you how it's going to look like. So this function here, it's going to have 3 outputs, and the 3 outputs going to return at the same time. So that will emulate our 3 different sensors. So let's go back to our coding bit. So now that we have this, that's going to be a payload for each. So we need to have payload. and we need to have topic. So this is basically just me saying this is a message called bedroom. That's all it is. It's just fancy way of doing it. I could have a in here message 1, message 2, message 3, but obviously I'm choosing custom names so it would be more visual for you guys. So payload is going to be a if I'm correct, I need to do it in as an object, right? Yeah, I think so. So it's going to be temp, and that's going to give me a bedroom temperature. So like this, and I need bedroom temperature and topic. And topic is going to be just a what is it called? String, which is going to be a name of the room, which is bedroom. Okay, so we have this nailed down. I'm not 100% sure whether I should do these ones as a keys. I think like this, but we'll review that in a second. I don't remember at this point. So we can just copy this 3 times. Okay, cool. We can rename this. What was the middle one? Kitchen. Okay, cool. Kitchen. And kitchen. Remember, I spelled the kitchen in uppercase. Okay. And now we have this and kitchen here. Helps when I spell it right. So what will happen here? Can I just like do like this? Maybe that's better. And maybe like this a little bit. That's. I hope you can see everything. So we know that's going to be returning those 3 payloads, and each payload is going to be assigned here. Now, we're still not done because we need humidity. So humidity. And that's we have humidity. Humidity is being stored in. We need to copy this actually. It's going to be quicker. And how many humidity? We have internal humidity and we have barometric humidity. No, we just have a 1. So in here it's going to be int can't spell today, and that's bedroom like kitchen. It's a kitchen that we have, internal kitchen, and that's gonna be humidity. And I'll show you how to deal when we don't have a reading. So in a kitchen we have our humidity settings. Settings, which is gonna be a kitchen humidity. Okay, so we build that payload, but we don't have a reading actually from these sensors that don't support the humidity for a bathroom, for bedroom and for living room. So you can create an object and just give it a value null. That way you're not going to receive an error, you're just going to receive a value which has no value. And then if you change the sensor and your living temp, okay, let's have a look. Living room, kitchen temp, kitchen, bedroom, living room. Yeah, correct. Kitchen temp, living room temp, and that way null in here. Okay, that way if you in future it's gonna get a sensor, all you have to do is just jump in with the variables and that's it. Or you can do it even better. You could do it this way, because that's going to be even less to edit. You can assign the null values here, Yeah, and so we have this for kitchen, so we need bedroom and living room. And this way, your code is going to be easier to edit later, because moving forward, you're always going to have the values in it. But paste. Living room here. Why Google? I didn't ask you. Okay, so we have this. So now, if you get in the future, you get a sensor that supports this, right? Come on, why? If you get a sensor that supports this, then you will be able to just simply add values in here, and it won't break the rest of the code. It's something that you have to think in advance, otherwise you're screwed. Okay, so we're done with this, so let's try this. Gonna copy this, and we're gonna switch to the this one, and we have assign topics. Delete this, and as you can see, what's gonna happen? We're gonna grab the temperature, we're gonna assign the value of the humidity, and we're gonna pass 3 different payloads, and hopefully this is the correct way to do it. So let's do this, and let's just drop it here. Come on, I have to deploy it first. Oh, come on, why are you not? Okay, and now I'm just going to link this with, yeah, before we're gonna do it, I'm just gonna test this. So,
I don't know that one.
Yeah, apparently I was talking to my Amazon Echo. So let's test this. And I should get like a pairs of temperature settings now. Yeah, you see I have 3 different readings. The humidity in the kitchen is null. There's a mistake in here. And in here it's correct. So we have a mistake in the kitchen somewhere. Let's have a look at what I've done in the kitchen, because it doesn't show me a entry. Temp, kitchen temp, it's there. Humid, kitchen, humid, kitchen. Who can find the temperature issue? Int humid. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to reorganize this, because right now I'm a little bit lost. So bedroom doesn't have a variable. Kitchen has kitchen humidity, and probably just named it incorrectly. So let's have a look. So that way, kitchen, living. This is a double, that's why. Or did I just copy and paste it? So bedroom, kitchen, living room, and living room. Living room. Okay, and now these ones, bedroom goes here, so I can remove this, and living room humidity, it's null, so I can add it here, and I can then move this one. Okay, so did I fix the mistake? Let's have a look. Still there's a problem in kitchen. Let's have a look what's going on. Why are you running NodeRED? No, I'm moving from a container to a normal installation, because it's easier to manage. Because if you develop new stuff, containers always create problems because they don't have other stuff. So you have to make sure you have everything installed in your container, troubleshoot, make sure that your containers talk to each other. I don't want this. Once you have your home automation setup created and you're not going to modify anything, feel free to wrap it in a container and do it this way. But until then, no, I'm not going to do it. So I've made a mistake somewhere in the kitchen again. My humidity not posting in the kitchen? Yeah, humidity is not posting in the kitchen. So we have probably wrong value in here. So let's I've misspelled it. Humid. That's the one. Nah, that's what I was missing. Ta-da! We have a kitchen fixed. Okay, so we have a kitchen fixed, and now you see it all goes together because all I have to do is just drop this here, put this 3 outputs here, and our script just will handle it beautifully. So let's delete this. Let's right now disable this, and I'll show you. So if we disable this, so if we go to here and delete the values, right? So disable my values. This is a scenario when you have 3 different rooms, 3 different temperature sensors, and they're just going to, you know, let's stick it to manual assignment. So now when I'm gonna send this, it's gonna create 3 different sets of objects for different rooms with the temperature that you can use. So let's try it. Refresh. Ta-da! We have a bedroom, we have a kitchen, and we have a living room, and everything seems to be okay. Where humidity is not available, we have a null. When the humidity is available, we have a value. So now you have an array which you can use. Or it's not array, but you have a list of values that you can use for your home setup. Now we can link it to a visible interface when you have a switches that's going to be corresponding with leading temperature. And if you toggle this switch, it will set an active temperature. Now the way it works in my flow is that in the main here, where's my thingy? Let's go to heating. When I move the slider, I set at a target temperature, right? So right now the target temperature is set at 14 degrees. And I store this value in a flow here. So anywhere in my flow, I can access this value and read this. Which means now I need a system that will take one of those temperatures and use it to match it against. So for example, from right now, this is my target and I'm matching this against my temperature ambient. So to make it work, I need to take one of those values in here from temperatures and make sure it's set as ambient. So that way you can have a list of different values and you can do it so that you pick one of them and that one of the values is going to become my ambient temperature. And this way you're going to track a specific sensor. Now, a second approach would be to have these 3 values in an array, add them together and draw an average. So you could trace all of the sensors, make sure the temperature is going to be matched to an average temperature. So if you have a colder room and a heater room, you're going to try to match kind of the in between. But the disadvantage of this is that if you're going to track an average, the hotter room is going to become more hot and the colder room it's going to lead up as well. So it really depends what you want to do with this and how you want to resolve. I think in my circumstance, because I have 2 levels, the first floor is hotter than the bottom floor, and that creates a situation when in the evenings when everything moves upstairs to bedrooms and stuff like that, you probably don't want to track a colder kitchen. You want to track a warm bedroom to make sure you don't overheat it, because it's no point. So you have to think that about what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. And you can automate this. You can automate this in a way that for part of the day, you're going to track the temperature downstairs, and then in the afternoon or evening, let's say, I don't know, on average, you start moving after kitchen, after dinner, you move your personal life to bedroom areas where you, I don't know, chill in bed, watch a TV or whatever, or you sit in an office. And you can start tracking these sensors in the afternoon instead. So you could have a comfort temperature in the office, you don't overheat it, etc. So that's how you could do it. And that's going to be very simple way of doing it, because you can simply either just you can make a voice command saying, hey, whatever assistant you want to use, can you track this temperature? And if you write a comment, all right, it's gonna change the sensor you're using for tracking. Or you can have it linked to your what's it called, to a time. So let's say from 5 o'clock we're tracking upstairs, from before 5 o'clock we're tracking downstairs. So Hello Sam, you okay? And Lloyd, I'm not pushing, it's my mistake, because ideally you want to have a database. I've not covered databases and I wanted to cover database, and I really regret not having this. We can emulate this to a degree, which isn't that bad. But yes, if you're looking to store this data, you'd have to create a database, and my idea was to do it this way. You start tracking data, right? And you track the temperature outside, you track the temperature inside, and the setting applied, and you have 3 different values for each hour, for each moment. And based on that data, you could kind of average it out, make a very simple AI which would look at historical data on Monday if it's available. If it's not available, it will listen to your command. If it's available on Monday, then it will do Monday. Then after a week, you have a historical data for a entire week, so you can break it down to a week one. After 4 weeks, you have a monthly breakdown, so you can apply that data to a month, etc. So each time you would have a much bigger data pool that you can draw conclusions from and write a script that will check, okay, so what was the temperature on the 21st December last year? I've set it to this if the temperature was like this. So I take this statistics and then it's like, okay, that was the offset, so I'm going to do exactly the same because the temperature is 2 degrees higher, so I'm going to set the temperature, with the offset to make sure it matches. It's a complicated script, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're gonna break it down to those bigger points, it's more complicated script, but it's totally possible and it's totally doable at, I guess, my level. I wouldn't probably just do it code it in an hour and it's like, yeah, it works, but it's totally doable. So okay, so we have this. We can track different sensors and we can have a temperature from different sources. But there's a couple of things we need to do. Now, this is a raw temperature, and you have to figure out what do you want to do and how you want to handle your hysteresis. Hysteresis means that right now, if I just plug this to my Sonoff, the moment I get temperature of 17 degrees of my heating, Sonoff gonna turn off and say, like, I'm not heating anymore. The moment the temperature drops below 17, so it's going to have like, I don't know, 16.9, Sonoff will be on temperature, I'm heating it. And the same goes again and again, up and down, up and down. This is your hysteresis. Now, you don't want this. This is very inefficient, and you want the heating to just cross the threshold of whatever you did and then let the temperature cool down. In reality, it's going to take a little bit longer because you store the heat in the radiators. The radiators will keep the room operating for I don't know, let's say 15 minutes, and then the temperature is gonna drop down because radiators are not giving you the heat, and then the mechanism will trigger because the temperature will drop down, your Sonoff will turn the heating on, etc. So you need to prevent this from happening, and how you do it is by 2 factors. You can use average temperature first, and you can use how often you take that temperature reading. So in my setups for the last 2 years, I've been taking readings every 5 minutes, and I've used average, sorry, that's the humidity and temperature. I've used 15 values, round up to 2 decimal places to combat the hysteresis, which means 15 times, I can do it in my head. It's 75. It's 75 minutes. Every 75 minutes, I would get the full set of averages, right? So I would get average of last 75 minutes in my room. What happened, and that's the average temperature. So if I'm going to increase the temperature by a couple of degrees, it doesn't really affect all readings because I have 15 data points in this case, because I have 15 different values. Which means it will take a little bit longer to bring that temperature up, and it will take a little bit longer to start lowering this temperature. So in fact, I had the heating firing, if I remember correctly, after half an hour, if it sets to a temperature. So it would heat up the room, leave it there, and after half an hour, it would heat up the room to the set temperature again. So that would be the more or less frequency that I would get with my setup. I don't know if this is ideal to you, but you can easily monitor it by either controlling the number of values or controlling how often you submit that temperature. So this is something that would probably be your preference, but you can modify this to kind of give yourself the outcome you want. And if you have sensors on your heaters and you can control how much heat it goes to your radiators, then you can do a lot of complicated math with that. But we know that. Okay, so we have the multi setup. I'm going to show you how to use this, but I need the battery. So let me just get a battery. We have batteries here. So if I remember, by default this is paired to my Son of Zigbee hub. You can pair it to anything. You can pair it to a CC2531, or you can, use Agara or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it is just a sensor. So if you pair it to Zigbee stick, you're just gonna have another sensor, which is gonna be like this, right? So I don't know if it's paired now yet, but we're gonna repair it. I'm just going to pair it with my NodeRED. So let me just open my NodeRED, with my Zigbee stick. So let me just open my server. Okay. And we're going to go to Zigbee. What was the... I don't remember. Don't remember the commands out of my head, so I'm just going to cheat. It's one of the things that this is why I do my website, because I don't remember stuff and I know I can find the way of doing it very quickly with everything I need. So okay, so this is where is my configuration YAML, and so let's go and pair it. Let's open it first before we start pairing it. Okay. Actually, it looks like this is the one. So I'm just going to grab the name. Oops. So it's Tuya temp 1. We're gonna need this. And this sensor can go directly here. So let's call it office. But before we can go to here, we need to change the topic. So we can use a change node, and we can do simply message payload. We want to do message topic. And office done. Office. And now we need to have an entry for office. So let's do this and apply office. And that's how easy it is to add multiple sensors once you kind of figure everything out. And hold on, before I do this, we need to change the name. So this is Zigbee to MQTT, and the name of the device is Tuya temp 1, if I remember correctly. And we want as a JSON. Thank you very much. So now all I have to do is just pair this. So bear in mind I need to reset it. Was it reset to hold it? I think. So I'm just pairing it now. I probably should have just opened it, because you can do. I've paired it in the past, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I should go and just get myself a log just to see it. I can see it. So this is this. Yeah, it's already supplying the temperature from the. You can see here. Okay, so this is paired already, and now I can jump to this and connect the debug node just to make sure it operates correctly before we're gonna start storing the values. So let's do it really quick. Are you just controlling a boiler on off or each radiator too? I don't have a way to control the radiators yet, so I'll figure out the cheap way to do it and I'll do it. But right now, it would be about £40 per radiator. It's expensive when you think about it. I have 11 radiators. That's £400 just to control radiators. It's not going to save me that much money. Okay, so let's see if it works. This is deployed, and if I click on it, it should just submit the data, right? Did I? Zigbee to MQTT2, yeah, let's oh, it's spelled with capitals. That's where the problem. That's why I need it. Okay. Now if I press, where's it? Press the button. Yeah, we have a temperature and everything. Now, just what we have to do is because you see I have a slightly different values in here. So it's temperature and humidity is stored in full names. So I can do it in here. So I can do like change, not set. Message payload dot temp, and add another one, message payload dot humid, and we can just copy this. So copy to message payload temperature, and where's my message and get the humidity, humidity, yeah. Okay, deploy, and it's going to be slightly different now, so let's get the values again, pressing the button. Okay, they're not going to be displayed in here, but oh, I can't do this one. I need a yeah, I have lied. For this ones I'm gonna need a I think, oh, let's have a look and see what happens. What's the worst could happen? So let's deploy, and let's go to my flow, refresh, press the button, and I'm gonna have a, excuse me, new entry. Ah, it worked. Look at this, it worked. We have an office. We have office linked via this sensor. So we have 4 different rooms right now. Okay, so this is how you would get the information from 4 different sensors into your thing, and now we need some sort of interface. And I was kind of hoping I'm just gonna list the rooms in here and get the switches. Sounds good? What do you think, guys? So let's maybe organize this. So we have 4 different rooms, and I'm gonna need 4 different switches. So let's go to my switch, and I need 4 of them. Okay, now I need to assign them to a correct heating. That's okay, that's fine. That's okay, and okay, and that's okay. Now I need to name them. So label, it's gonna be bedroom, and let's name them. And this one's gonna be obviously kitchen, and we're gonna name them. That's great. Then this one obviously is gonna be a office. And we're gonna name them. And lastly, living room. And we're gonna name it. Now, I didn't name it, did I? No. Okay, now a trick, you can actually, this is the easy part. Let's deploy this. And before you go and mess about this, just go to your heating dashboard. Where's the heating chart, heating dashboard, and go to layout. Ah, that's sensor board. Come back. Cancel. Heating layout. And you can see slider. Ooh, did I think I've added a different category. Let's modify this. Heating. I think it's this one. So let's have a look. Heating. I have a couple of duplicates because I have a copy of this open as well somewhere. I'm gonna clean that up at some point. And let's see if it's in the correct group. If not, I'm gonna move it manually from here. Layout. Yeah, okay, so this is how it's gonna look like. It's gonna be stretched nicely. I can have a thing to living room, office, kitchen slider needs to be up. Okay. Done. Deploy. And now, and now, what's going on? Okay, I should move this group. So let's move this group. Where is it? So I need to move it to the. Well, I have 3 of them now. Okay, I think I need to move this one to here. So if I'm gonna do like this, it should work. Hey! So now I'll be able to set which is the leading sensor. Okay, a little bit of comments. So I'm assuming there is a tutorial how to do it from scratch. Yes, there is. I mean, this is where I started at the beginning of this stream. I'll have a tutorial on that. It's the wrong thing. Come on. Just we'll repaste this. So this is the base where we started, and I just wrote everything during the stream. So I will write a proper tutorial. It's just I need to do it anyway, and then I have to film it for tutorial purposes. No one's gonna sit here for 2 hours just looking at this. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize you do it. No, I'm really happy that I have a company. It's much nicer. So now you instantly see the problem. I was able to switch all of them, and that's useless. No, I need a system that when I switch one of them, the other one will switch off, and it's a bit of a mess. Okay, so we have that. We have them here. Now they're gonna be all doing the same thing. So we're going to have the names of the switches or the names of the topics. I'm gonna set the topics to each label. I'm gonna leave it as consistent because you'll notice in a second what I'm going to do with it. So I want to have the same names everywhere, spelled the same way. Okay, so how to do the leading temperature? Let's jump into my VS Code, and we're gonna need a new function. We know that we have the different topics, right? So when the message is sent, I'm going to get a topic. Now, I'm also going to get payload. And that says true or false. So when I receive a message, I'm going to receive 2 things. I'm going to receive true false message, and I'm going to receive a topic. So it will tell me which switch has been activated in here, and whether it's been true like this or false like this. So you're going to get topic name, and I'm going to get true false payload. So how we want to do this? The way I would approach is that first, if the message is true, so if payload equals true, and we need colors to make it nicer. Oops. Then we're gonna do something. Otherwise, we're gonna do something else. Okay, so if the message is true, what we want to do, we want to update the ambient temperature. If you remember at the beginning of the live stream, I was explaining how it works. And let's go to here, and you will see that we have a temperature target that will chase the ambient temperature. Now, if that temperature, if in order to track the ambient temperature from the different sensors that we have here and obviously here, oops, we need to swap the source of that temperature. So we need to wipe the data and submit it instantly with the new data. So I know that we need some readings. So we're gonna need a reading from a sensor. In this case, we're gonna need a sensor temperature. So for sensor, which is corresponding with our topic. So we need flow, because this is where they're stored, get, and then we want to get a temperature from topic, and what we want to get from the topic. So it will give us an entire oops, sorry, I was actually typing in here, sorry. All right, thanks, Patrick. No, I meant to connect Zigbee to Sonoff or to Pi. Brain freeze, guys. Brain freeze. Let me have some coffee. I have to connect. How to connect Zigbee to Sonoff? Okay, so Zigbee to Sonoff. You don't connect Zigbee to Sonoff. You want Zigbee to NodeRED. Sonoff is separate. That's what you need. Obviously, if you want to use the temperature on the Sonoff itself, like Sonoff Basic, you need to do some soldering and use Marta. But the sensors can go from anywhere else you want. I use the Raspberry Pi in here, and I use the wireless sensor. That's the point of it. So, okay, so in here, let me just answer. I grab the topic and the payload, right? Message topic, it goes from the topic we assign to switches, and the payload goes from switching true or false. So we can have true false here. And then we're gonna get the information about our room. So for example, I'll copy the entire thing. So that's, for example, we would get if our topic is real living room, entire that information here. So if we know now, if we switch a sensor responsible for living room, we're gonna query a living room, and if we set that it's true, then we want to update our ambient temperature with living room data. So our ambient temperature is stored in a flow set, because we're gonna set it. Now we need name, which is ambient temperature, and we are updating it with value from sensor dot, and then if you look into it, we want temperature, so dot temperature. Is that clear? Because we're grabbing whatever we stored in this flow variable, and we're gonna update our new sensor with that data. And this is where we want to, but that will reset our data. That doesn't mean we store it yet. So because my old system has this in a different place, I kind of have to figure out how to implement it back. Now let's take a look at the back at the here. Now where I'm tracing the ambient is probably somewhere here. Average temperature. So this is what happens here. I take the temperature from the DHT11 mounted on a sensor. Now then I had to translate it for the old gibberish to be with decimal space, because he wouldn't update, etc. So I needed to add leading zeros. No, not leading zeros. The zeros after the decimal point, and then I would set this temperature to a ambient. But that won't work now because we have a multiple ones, and we have to have a way of doing it. So if we're gonna go back to our script, we need a new variable. We need a new variable that will actually tell us what is the leading sensor. So instead of so that will stay, that node will stay, but we need to have a new variable. So we have a flow set, and what we're going to do, we're going to have a variable named leading sensor, and we're going to store the name of the sensor. So in this case, our name of the sensor I think the best if you're gonna start by as a bedroom. Or should we go bedroom? This is the thing. This is where I'm trying to figure out what is the best way of doing it. Because if we're gonna have a look in here, I think we're just going to do by bedroom. Because then later on we can easily access this from the object. So let's do it as name. So let's jump back. And we're gonna, so our bedroom is stored as topic. So now, when we press one of the buttons, what will happen? Well, let's get it in here. So when I press this one, it will take the temperature from bedroom. It will send the temperature, current temperature from the bedroom to update the ambient. So if it was in that bedroom 17 degrees and ambient was 20, it will wipe the 20. It will put it as 17. And then it will start tracking this. I will set this as our main sensor. So that way, when I go in here and I'm trying to fix this, I have to fix it in a different way. So in order to update, I'm gonna create a new function. And this function, so I'm gonna keep this open, but I need a new one. This function, it's gonna take our temperature, our sensor first. So we need name for sensor, and this sensor, it's always stored in this in leading sensor. So let's flow get leading, and I need to set the JavaScript leading sensor. And so we're gonna get the name of the sensor, and because we're gonna run this every time there is an update, so it will take a current setting and it will start updating the temperature. So we need to set, so this is the name of the sensor. Now we need to get the temperature from that sensor. And ambient temperature from that sensor, it's gonna be a flow get, and that's gonna be sensor, because sensor here, it's gonna be exactly the same name as here. So either bedroom, kitchen, living room, or office. Okay. So maybe it's not, maybe we'll name it data. That's going to be better. So data, and our sensor temperature, ambient temperature. And so our ambient temp, it's going to be in data dot temperature. So this is our value, and now we have to update it. And I've got a misspelled the word var. Okay. All right, and lastly we need to update this, which is a flow set, and we have ambient temp ambient, and we updating it with this. And that way, every update, so every couple of seconds or whatever time you want, we will check what is our leading sensor. We'll get that information from that sensor, and we're gonna update our ambient temperature. So this is how it's gonna work. Okay, so we can copy this, and we can create a function, name it update leading sensor. It doesn't have to return anything, but it's gonna just run in the background. I'm just going to keep it here. I'm not going to connect it to anything. Sorry, I'm just need to switch it. So I've just pasted this code. It's not going to return anything. And later on, we're gonna connect it to a function that's gonna be just updating every couple of seconds, checking where is the sensor. Now, There is one more thing that we have to do. We have to create an interface that will toggle them all together, because right now I can set anything. So we had this function here and the previous function, which is for our switches. Now, if the payload is false, we don't do anything, because it won't. Or probably we should have a default picked, like, because we can end up with a value without any value. So let's have a default settings. So that's gonna be our backup to where we're gonna go if things go wrong. So let's say a kitchen. We're gonna aim for kitchen. Oops, not like this again. Temporal leading sensor. So for kitchen, I need to get. I would have to. How can I easily do it? I don't think I can put it actually here, because there is a situation when we're gonna click on a switch like this, right? If we're gonna click on the switch, it will set the correct sensor. If we're gonna click on another one and this one disconnects automatically, we'll update another sensor. But if we're gonna do this, then we're gonna end up with a situation that we don't want, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna leave this now. This is to be. I didn't say anything. I'm gonna leave this now for now, because I don't know how to. Complete this later, and I'm just going to uncomment this. Right now it's not going to break anything, but it's error that we need to catch. So we have this function and it's going to work, so we can copy it and paste it into our system. Our system. Did I create? No, so I need to create new function. Create this, and let's name it update licenses. So I'll select sensor. So, and if we connect all of them here, you'll see that it starts to work. So let's deploy this. Let's move the dashboard into a small window. And let's refresh everything in here. And now when I start to press the buttons, you should have a new variables in here. Oops. So leading sensor, it's bedroom, right? Now it's gonna be living room. Or office. Oh, do I have a bad mapping or something? I should be living. Okay, there is a bug somewhere. Living room in. They are different orders, yeah. So like living room, didn't change the type. Okay, let's double check if everything is office, and kitchen. Okay, so that was just me forgetting to do it. So right now, wherever we're gonna press, it's gonna update a last sensor. So this is what we're doing, right? Cool. Don't need this. I can close this actually. But they don't disconnect automatically, so we need to write something that will turn off the other ones. And in order to do it, we can actually use this function to toggle the other ones. And how would we do it? Because we want to toggle the ones that weren't selected. Okay, we can have like a switch case, I guess, maybe. Yeah, let's have a look. Java script switch. Not used that in ages, so let's take this one. Oh, actually, that can solve our default because it has a default function. I forgot about it, so it's good I looked it up. So this is a switch case expression, and let's go to my VS Code to work on this. Okay, so we have a case, couple of cases. Gonna be case 1, and that's gonna be a living room. Okay, let's play with the code a little bit. Oops, Control Z. Shift tab to go back on. Okay, so we have a nice. There's a default. There's a break. There's a 1, 2, 3 cases. So let's name it office. Let's name it. What is it called? What is it called? Kitchen. And bedroom. Now, one of don't want too many, I think. And there is the default one. Okay, so I'm gonna look it up the case again. Just figure out the use. So we do it. We can match by variable. Case 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is out. Okay, so we need this to be corresponding with our names, and it's going to be like this. Living room, because we have these stored as strings, so that's what we're going to do. Okay. Okay, and we have and for each case we are going to send a different set of payloads. So the way I want to oh sorry, I was in the wrong window. So basically I just named them as strings because we're gonna match against strings. Now for each case I'm going to have 4 different outcomes. And those outcomes going to be going to each toggle. And depending on what button I've pressed, I'm going to select all the ones to disable. Now to disable the button, if you go to information here, it's going to give you how to do it. You can just send a pass-through payload message matches no state. Now I don't want to loop. That's one more thing we have to worry about is the looping, because if I'm going to send anything from here, it will apply here and send it back and again and again and again and again. So I don't want this to happen, but I'm gonna worry about it in a moment. Now in order to handle this, we need to send something like this. So it will at the end of the switch case, it will return array of message 1, message 2, message 3, message 4. Now it's gonna return all the messages, so each case will have to have a different states. So we're going to have like this. So message 1 equals payload So like this, play load, and then we have false or true, depending on what we need. So right now we're gonna start with false. And then I need to duplicate it 4 times. And message 2, message 3, message 4. Now, if I'm going to press on living room, then I want to have my office, and this is where it's gonna get complicated. So I'm just going to do it like this. First, it's gonna be, let's see how they connected in here on this side. So let's switch over, because I need an order to track. So on the top, we're going to, first is bedroom. Okay, so first message is gonna be bedroom. Room. And then we have kitchen. So kitchen. Then we have office. And that's going to be a little bit easier to control. And then we have a living room. Okay. So if I'm going to press living room for yes, then I want to have living room to be yes and rest to be false. I hope you get that right, guys. It's clear. So if I'm going to press office, and that's going to be true, and the rest is going to be Elle. If I'm going to press kitchen, then the kitchen is going to be true, and the rest is going to be false. And lastly, if I'm going to press on bedroom, then bedroom is going to be true, and the rest is going to be false. And if there is no, then default, let's say we're gonna track to bedroom, because why not, right? Makes sense. So we have our cases stored. Just gonna clean up the code. Okay, and in here we're checking a topic. Okay, cool. So we have this. So that should, and we need to update this one, last one, which is a living room. Yeah, living room. Okay, so that should do us. Thanks, Anthony. I just noticed that. Okay, so we have this, and let's test it out. It probably won't work because we're still gonna have loops, and I'm totally expecting this, but I'm just going to give it a go anyway, just to confirm that everything's working. So let's have a look. I've added it here. Now, do I need the pass-through messages? I don't think I need the pass-through messages. But without pass-through, you won't update. That's the thing. So we will have to kind of figure out how to do it. Okay, let's watch this madness, because that's going to be a madness. I'm just going to do a debug in here to see what happens. And are you ready for this? Okay, it's looping already. I can tell. I can tell it's looping. See, okay, we need to break this. Okay. So I totally expected this to be looping. So it's gonna take a couple of moments to go through all the loop, because we did a massive loop. That's fine. I was totally expecting this, and I wanted to show you what's gonna happen. Hopefully NodeRED will at some point survive this, because we just flooded it. And we need to rethink this. So one of the approaches we can take, we can actually identify whether we press the button or whether we submit the button, if that makes sense. So how we could do it is we can actually monitor our, maybe a topic is assigned here. We need a topic, so no, that's not going to work. Oh, I know what we can do, because if we press this, obviously we don't need this last line, that's for sure. And we don't need this one because we just looping it, that's for sure. Didn't think about it. And we don't need this one, so all the true ones we can just remove it. No, that will help us. In here we have to leave the true one because it's a default behavior, so we want something to be set. For now we're just going to leave it as false. So when we receive the false, there was we can actually do stuff in here. So when we receive a false, nothing will happen right now. So let's do return null. Okay, let's give it a go. I think my NodeRED is ready. Just messing about, ignore and deploy. Okay, my NodeRED is ready now. Okay. Okay, let's see how that's gonna act right now. Are we ready for this? Okay, sending me messages to wrong places because I can't toggle everything. What did I miss, guys? What did I miss? Let's have a look. If okay, I've got an idea. I missed something. I'm just trying to figure out what. So I'm sending this and the payload's false, that's fine, and I'm just sending false. They go back. Okay, let's. Can I put it like this? So we only return something when we pressed, and then on else we do nothing. Let's see. How's that's gonna work? Still have a problem. Okay. Living room, correct. So if I press this, it's gonna become true. It should change. It shouldn't get a feedback. I think I messed up something with the messages. Should I return? Okay, let's try also like this. instead of break, we'll try to return the value straight away. I don't know if that's going to work. I'm just testing out, to be honest. So living room, get rid of the living room. No. Office, get rid of the office. Kitchen, get rid of the kitchen. And bedroom, get rid of the bedroom. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. I'm totally winging it now. Hey, check this out. And this is what we want. So now you can control your default temperature. So office, leading sensor office. Bedroom, let's check. Leading sensor bedroom. Yay! Okay, great. Okay, we get this figured out. Alright, so I know something. I feel good about myself. Okay, we have this done. So now we can control from user interface what is our target temperature, which is good. Gonna bask in the glory for about 5 seconds. Okay. So now we have an update leading sensor. So that information has to be passed every couple of seconds from here. So right now, okay. So what's happening to kind of summarize? Readings for each sensor are done independently right now. You can queue it up because I'm using this flow in here, right? So you can queue it up and do the readings in here. For example, I have a couple of seconds, and those are being updated. So I will get a raw data of a current temperature, current ambient temperature. I don't really need to average this at this point, but because this is a raw data. Now, if I want to monitor this and I want to create hysteresis protection, I need the update to take care of this, because there's nothing wrong. Like, you want always to get a raw sensor data because you can manipulate it to your liking. But then when you process the data, it's where it's important. So I mentioned this update leading sensor that's supposed to have the hysteresis. So when I do this, I have to do this every couple of minutes or whatever. So I'm gonna get a timestamp, I'm gonna get an interval, and let's say we're gonna update it. It's for testing purposes, we're just gonna do 10 seconds, okay? So every 10 seconds, I'm going to check what is my leading sensor, read that leading sensor, and set it as an ambient temperature. Now, that would give me a raw data into it. Now, if I want to give myself average temperature, I need to split this. So in order to split, I can use something like I use this, so I can copy this, which is gonna take the value, round up the value, and then update it, which is something I want. So first, instead of saving that as a temperature, I'm going to pass this forward. So right now I'm not using this. And we're just going to return the value. Return message. And our message is going to be just message temperature, I guess. Temperature. And that's going to be a data temp. Data. Okay. So that's not needed, and that's not needed. So I'm removing this from here because what's going to happen is I'm just going to get the leading sensor, get the value, and pass the value forward. Now, because in here I'm storing this in message temp, I want to store 15 values, round up to 2 decimal places, and messages as well stream. And this is average temperature. So that's good. That's all I needed. If I'm connecting this, this, and this right now, my output is going to be a next function. And this function is, this is where I'm updating my average temperature. So I'm going to take my temperature for, you don't have to do it this way, but let's do it very short. So it's going to be flow set and then ambient temperature, because that's what I'm updating after hysteresis, ambient temperature. And the value, it's going to be message dot temp, because that's what we sent in the previous one. And I'll keep return message just for now. You don't have to really. This is update ambient temp hysteresis. I think this is how you spell it. Okay, so this is our update. So every couple of seconds we're gonna read this and store it. And that's average. We can get a debug, and you'll see that this temperature is gonna change depending on the readings. So let's refresh this. Right now ambient is 23 degrees. Probably not going to change it because, oh, we can change it actually because of the, what's the temperature? So kitchen is 31, so we can raise the temperature if we set leading sensor to kitchen. Let's set reading sensor to kitchen, and now you should see the temperature ambient going up. So let's try that a couple of times. 5, 6, 7. See, the temperature already jumped in because I am right now controlling them from kitchen. Now if I want to lower this, like let's find what's the lowest one. Office is the lowest one, like bedroom is the lowest one. So let's go back bedroom, and I'm going to submit a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and refresh it. And you see the temperature drop down. So that's how, hello frog guy, you're right, nice to see you. So this is how would you set a leading temperature. Okay, so we have our leading temperatures set up. There is also one more thing that we're missing. If you go in here, right, where is this? I've had it here. So if we go into my sensor right now, you will see that ambient temperature, oh, it just updated. So it uses, because this one, to compose this, I already predicted how I want to use this, and in update for the Nest thermostat, I simply pull the ambient temperature from the variable. So it's a very good way to do it when you think about the data structure you've got and where to store it. So I knew that I want to store it as a variable rather than submit the raw data into the display or into that Nest HTML gadget, because I can still manipulate this data if I'm gonna store it elsewhere, and then I will pull this data just the moment when I need it to display. It's better this way because it gives you that manipulation. But I could plug this straight away to to sensors and get the sensors to feed this. But there's no point for it. You don't want this. You just, for display, when you think about display, this is the very last step of whatever you're gonna do ever. It's a very last step of what you do. So you gather all the information that you have already processed, and then you offset. In fact, if you want to improve this, you would have also another string that you would just submit as just display values. You would have your raw data in your variables and then display data. And that display data would be updated from that. I didn't do it, that was 2 years ago. This is something I kind of learned from experience, but you would have that a buffer. So when your raw data interacts with the display data, and then display data is what you display. So whatever you change, your display component is complete because it will pull information from display data, so you can manipulate it if you want. You can submit fake values, and you can manipulate on raw data, knowing that you always submit to the same endpoint, so that endpoint doesn't change. So in here you'll see that for this, this is my display data. It's kind of merged. It's a similar concept. It's not as fledged out, but all I have to do to display my widget is update those 6 variables, and it will display everything I need. And I get them from here, I process them from here, and then I display them at the end. So that's how it works. Even with the slider, when I have a slider at the bottom, so I can you know, control the temperature. You see how the temperature just jumped? It was because the moment I submit the first slider value, it would go through entire script. It would check what is my actually, watch this, because this will change now. It changed to 23 because for some time we were running every 10 seconds, we were running that leading temperature. So it would gather all the information the moment I press it, and then display the data separately. Okay, so we have this. I think since this is working, we can actually focus now on Google Home. And we're gonna use Nora for this. So what I need is Nora. And Nora has thermostat. If you've not used Nora, I don't have any resources for Nora actually, but if you go on Google, Nora thermostat. This is what you install, and there is no many resources. But I've played with it for a bit, so I kind of know what's going on. So you need your config and thermostat, and you'll have this available in your mobile. So can I do this? Let's see. Let's take a look. Where is my thingy? It works. Why do I have a? Interesting. My wallpaper has changed. You don't see this yet, but you will see it in a second. Hello. Oops. I wanted to move this. So when you go to your Google Home, you're gonna have your thermostat, and this is how it looks like. This is the thermostat from Google Home. Now obviously you can use voice commands, and you can use that gadget on Google Home. And right now it doesn't have any details, so we have to configure it. It just have default. You see in here, and it is 25 degrees and 20 set point. And can we do anything? We can't interact with it. So first we need, how it works. It has an on setting, off setting, and we're gonna have heat and maybe eco. So that's our, and it's gonna be in our, I don't know, like let's say I'm gonna keep it wherever. It's not going, and we're gonna just name it as a thermostat. Okay, that's a good. I'm using Celsius, so do forgive me. If a message arrive output, I'm just going to leave it as this right now. The only disadvantage of this, you cannot have 2 of them because it will create two different things. So you can't really just deal with it. So let's deploy it, and you'll see right now that once I'm gonna refresh this, I will be able to open the thermostat, and now I can change this. I can't yet. Oh, actually I should be. Come on, it's not refreshed. Let's refresh it properly. And now I can set it to heat, eco, on, off. So those are the settings I've just picked in here. Okay, so that's good. Now we need to feed some temperature, and with Google Home we can feed the temperature, we can feed the humidity as well. So in order to do it, when we want to feed this, we want to probably feed it on change, and in the same way we want to use average ambient temperature, and if you want ambient humidity. So if you're going to have the same setup, you will probably need similar stuff for your humidity. So let's get humidity this, and we're gonna double this. We're gonna name it to humidity, and renaming everything. And in here it's gonna be similar stuff. Everything stays the same. Now we can actually just modify this, so I can increase a second to add the second payload, and we can send 2 payloads. So the second we can name temperature, and we can name it humidity. So we could have a track. Now I'm going to create them. So we have temp, and that's our this, and we have payload, and in the payload we have a I don't need a mobile right now, that's fine. We have our temp, which is still stored like this. Oh no, that's a mistake, yes. We temp like this, and it is just a data temp. Data temp, okay. Yeah, that's good. And we need to have a humidity, which is gonna be similar stuff. So temp. Awesome. We can get rid of this, and we are leading sensors fine. Flow get sensor. So we get, and we just need to get a data. Okay, that's all, because humidity is going to be taken from here. Now there's an issue where you see humidity, it's going to be 0. Now I think null is allowed. I'm not 100% sure if null is allowed to Google Home right now as a value, but we're gonna test it. If we're gonna be leading on a certain things, let me just maybe disable the mobile for now. If we're going to lead certain sensors, it's gonna be updating maybe no humidity because your sensor doesn't support it. So null should be okay, but it takes the sensor information and I'll submit here, and they will set to 2 different payloads, 2 different branches of here. So top one is going to be for temperature, bottom one is going to be for humidity. We can delete this one, and we can just do it like this. Ta-da! And there's some question in the chat. So you can have multiple thermostats using NORA. They assign to different room. Yes, you can have a multiple thermostats, but then it kind of defeats the purpose. Why would you? Because you don't have this is the thing, you don't have a control over this. It only makes sense when you can cut off the heating. So if you have 2 levels heating or something, you'd have 2 thermostats. If you don't, if your system works on the promise that the temperature is, what is it called? I've lost my train of thought. If you have a system that kind of allows you to have 2 different zones, so you can have a different temperature up and different temperature down, you're still using the same heating. It doesn't matter, because what will happen, it will heat 2 different levels at the same time until it reaches the temperature of the higher one. But if you have a heating system that can cut off a floor, then it makes sense to have 2 thermostats, because obviously you will enable thermostat upstairs and it will deliver the heat upstairs only and will leave the bottom whatever, and then you can have a bottom one to control it and submit the heat when it's needed. So your number of the thermostats is one per heating zone, I guess. You can have multiple entries to set the thermostat, but it's not a number of thermostats, if you know what I mean. You control the same thermostats from a different position. You don't do anything other than that, really. So in my setup, you will be able to use you use this, and you set your tracking point, and then you can control the temperature from Google Home based off the tracking you've set previously. So that's if that makes sense. I currently have a leaking radiator in my lounge, so it has been isolated from the central heating. So I have another thermostat controlling. Like, okay, yeah, and that would be exactly what I said. You would have a second source of the heat that you control with a second subset of control. So you have a thermostat for electric heater, and you have a thermostat for that. So you have control over where you're heating. If that electric thermostat was just plugged into whatever and controlled from a single thermostat, and it would kick on at the same time as the other heating system, then having a second thermostat you don't have a second thermostat. You just have a second display. That's all it is. And obviously, because you're carrying on a mobile or whatever, you don't have to. So that's the principle of it. So let's start feeding the temperature to a thermostat. So we need to feed we can feed the temperature only, or we can feed the temperature and humidity. I'll show you both. Now, what we have to deliver is the payload in a correct value. So let's have a look. We need to have a payload that is formatted. So this one's gonna have, let's take a look, one of following, so we can feed them separate. It's fine then. So what we need is has a payload, message payload, and this is temperature. So we're gonna have a object. Temperature, I think, is spelled with a smaller case. Let's have a look. Yes, temperature and a full. So we have a temperature, and then it is our temperature, which is a message temp. Okay, and the same is going to be exactly the same for our humidity. So we just need to change this to humidity, and change this to humidity, and right now, oh no, don't apply it. Right now, it should show. Come on, I'll show you too. Smile. Okay, so you can see the temperature is 25 degrees, and it's gonna be, when we finish, at 21 degrees. Temperature ambient 23 degrees. Okay, so let's test it out. Okay, I'm just gonna refresh this, and the temperature is, is it not showing? Oh, darn it. Okay, where's the thermostat? It's feeding the correct temperature. It's got the correct temperature right now, and humidity as well. So if you have a humidity controls, there you go. That's how you do it. So the thermostat is linked. Now it shows you temperature. Now, if you want to control the temperature of it, you need to update our, guess what, target temperature. So let's have a look what happens when I do a set point. So I'm gonna link this. I'm gonna delete this because I don't need it. Let's have a look, and right now I'm just going to turn the heat on and set it to, say, 15. And what just happened? That's what happened. So I'm just going to move this maybe like here. So I have a set point and mode heat. Okay. So if I could turn it off, what just happened? It's just going to be set to off, and the mode will change to off, and the set point is going to stay the same. Okay, so we need to use message payload set point. So let's create a new function, and to make it quicker, message payload set point. And that's our var target, and we want to set as a flow set our temp target. Huh? Okay. And now we can control our temperature. Because if I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna set this to heat. And let's set it to 17. Ooh, something turned it off. Okay, what's turning it off? Let's have a look. I probably have it somewhere deployed where I'm not supposed to. So if I'm gonna set it to, okay, something is setting it. I think I've disabled my previous one. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, I have this is the current one. But this one's disabled, so you shouldn't activate right now. Why is it switching right now? Okay, there is something that says right now it's annoying me. And I don't have it somewhere here, isn't it? No. Okay, something is turning it off, and probably, hold on a second, you're not getting any other values. Let's set the temperature, heat, and the temperature higher than a persisting one. It still turns it off. Okay. So we still have a problem with something. I don't know yet what, but I'm pretty sure it will. Yeah, it sends the correct values, but something is turning it off. I'm not 100% sure what. Oh, I didn't connect this. Maybe that's why. Let's have a look now. Let's try it now. Heat. 16. That's just, yeah, that's changing now. Okay. So heat. So that's the default temperature is 20. Yeah, so they both interact now. I just want to know why it turns itself off. What guides it? Maybe two-way communication. Maybe that's what I was missing. So let's check two-way communications. Goodness. So this is called update target, and it works. For some reason it's turning itself off, and I'm not 100% sure why. Pass-through output. Let's try again. Heat. It should stay on heat right now until I turn it off. It shouldn't. Okay, I still have an error somewhere. I don't have a echo ticked on the NORA. Echo is a fixed one. Echo, I think it's just uses prefix temperature. That's all it is. And since if you look at my dashboard here, I have eco settings as well. So when you go from 17 to 21, it gives you like an eco indicator. So right now I'm not 100% sure why it's disabling itself. It's clearly updating the way it should because it shares the information here. But that's a mystery. Let's try to figure out what just went wrong. Information. So I need to supply the mode as well. So what happens is, because I don't supply any mode with this, I think it's just assuming off as a default. So let's disconnect this from here, right? Because it's gonna be update every 10 seconds, and I don't want that to happen. So let's create a fake right now, just stuff. So message payload, and that's gonna be new object. And in this object, we're gonna have mode. We're gonna have temperature. And we're going to have, just gonna move this aside. And we're going to have a humidity. There's also 3 and set point. Okay, so let's see, set point we're gonna set to 17 and mode set to heat. Temperature set to, I don't know, 21 and humidity to 29. Okay, and that's just for testing. And I think we are missing, not debug, we were missing a okay, so let's see. According to me, the moment I injected this should be stay on heating, right? So let's open this up again. And it stays on heat and it shouldn't move. Give a couple of seconds. Yeah, but I think that was it. We weren't passing over the information. Okay, so I won't be updating this from temperature update, obviously. I'm going to update this from any other source. So when I want to update my thermostat, I want to update my thermostat from time to time, and I want to update my thermostat from where I'm using a third party. So when I'm changing temperature here, I want to update to thermostat. When I'm changing temperature on Amazon Echo, I want to update my thermostat. And from time to time, I want to update the temperature as well. So if I'm updating the temperature, it has to have a current setting. So I can link it here, but then I have to take a current setting of my thermostat. So if I'm going to look at my variables here, let's see what I can figure out from. Can I just put it here? So I have a heating state and a switch. Now those need to be redone. This was a bad idea. Greetings, Polly. How are you doing? Because if you operate on binary mode, use always Boolean, because it will be very easy. It's very easy to convert as a last stage. Right now, I have to trace everything and change the heating switch value from off to wherever I want to change it, and that's going to be very annoying, and that was a mistake on my part caused by inexperience. Now it's much better to do it like this when I have a way, when I have a false or true, because later on, even if I know what is my final value, I can take it and just swap it false for on or whatever, and it's easy. Now in here, I could have off with the uppercase, lowercase, spelled with this, you know, first letter on, and it gets complicated. So heating state is when the heating is operating. So in order to link the ambient temperature, what I need to also get is get my information about my heating state. But I'm not going to get it here. I'm going to get it here. State and flow to get in here. We need to get a heating state. Right now it's on off, but later on it's gonna be true or false. I'll change this, and that's gonna be sent over as well with data. So I need to add the temperature and payload. Heating state equals heating state. And I'm going to double this message because I don't know at this point whether the message is going to be delivered at the same time. If they're not going to be delivered at the same time, I still want to have this information. So now that I can track information about my heating state, I can have this modified. So this is the payload I need, right, to deliver to my thermostat, and we're gonna focus on this. So yes, you're hearing birds tweeting. Wow, this microphone is sensitive. Nice one. It's what is it? It's 7:30. We're gonna wrap it up by 8 because I'm really hungry. I didn't have a dinner yet. So in order to do it, what we have to do is we have to check if heating state is gonna be, well, in this case, but like I said, I'm gonna redo it later to true or false, so it would be easier. But right now I have off and on. So on. And I'm gonna duplicate this. Off. Okay. Now we don't need this because this is gonna be connected again in here, right? And in here, as you remembered, we already formatted my payload. So what I need to do is just add my heating state. So if my heating state is on, so let's dump the message payload. And now we need to modify my message payload to message payload to mode I should have been deleting that. Okay, never mind. I'll retype everything. Heating. No. Temp. Temperature. Humidity. And we don't update the set point from here because we don't have information about the set point. So that's what we need. And with this, we're gonna replicate this and we want heating mode. Does it support arc? So it's off or heat. So if it's off, it's off. Off. Temperature is x dot temperature. Because it's from here, it's stored in x. So that applies here as well. Now this one is heat. And humidity, it's, you guessed it, x dot humidity. Okay. Okay. What are you complaining about? That's what you're complaining about. Let's wrap them properly. So now it's gonna check what is the temperature, what is the status of our temperature. If the heating is off, it's gonna keep it off. If it's heating on, it's gonna keep it on. So let's test it. Deploy. Let's open my Google widget again. So now the heating is off, right? If I'm going to set the heating to on, it will disable it because it's not updating the heating state. Now it will update the heating state here, and on the next update it will stay. So it's not going to disable, because what happened was we were sending information from Google. The information went to NodeRED, updated this. This sets the heating to on, and then pushed the information back to thermostat, saying that the thermostat should stay on, and we have a loop complete. So right now it's oscillating because that has to be detached. I have to have a direct system updating from this to this, because they are not set to the same limits. This thermostat in Google, they have in here 2 degrees of tolerance. So right now it's oscillating. Obviously it's not ideal, but it won't. If I just gonna decrease this to off, that's gonna stay off, and it will in a second disable the thermostat in my Google on the next update. Probably the update is every 10 seconds caused by this. So let's have a look. So if I'm gonna go here, come on, I have to lower the temperature a little bit. I don't know how often is. Oh, sorry. I should be setting this to away. It's otherwise the heating is still on, so it doesn't do it. Okay, that's fine. So we're not updating the set point yet. So we need to update the set point in here. Now, as set point, we can take the temperature from temp target. So we can get this from our set point, and that's flow.get, and we want a temperature target, and we need to update this with set point. So set point, there's our set point. And now it should update properly. So let's take a look. If I'm gonna set point to lower. So right now the update is 10 seconds, I think, if I remember correctly. Not sending a set point yet. Why? Did I miss something? Set point. Temp target. Yes, yes. Did I miss something? Not defined heating state. Which one was it? here, heating state not defined. Ah, silly me, I forgot to get the information about this, so that's why it wasn't working. So heating state, how we are passing it? Heating state was as a key, so this is payload.heating state. Okay, so this is message payload, so heating state is a X payload, no, X heating, yeah, X heating state should be, I think, if I remember correctly. Let's have a look. Right. Okay, it's not complaining now. Let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, I've definitely updated the. What's the temperature? Okay, let's set it to 14, right? To fix undefined, where we have a problem. Okay, that doesn't matter. So the set point isn't applying correctly yet. I'm gonna just stick a debug node and debug node, please, and see what we are getting here. Get rid of this one. Okay. It's not returning. So it's ignoring completely this. Why it's ignoring completely this? What we get in here? Let's have a look. Did I override the entire? Oh, because I override the entire payload. Oh, okay, that was my mistake. So basically, what happened is I override the entire payload in here. So what I can do is to fix this. I just need to make sure I store this payload. So this is a payload like this. So I just need to do message var x equals message payload. So I have it here, and then I just want to update the temperature, right? So I think I can. Should be able to do this, but this is not very elegant. I want to redo this because we need to have this data together. So instead of updating this, I guess I'll get a state update. Removed from here, and I'm gonna do the state update in here. It's gonna be a little bit easier to troubleshoot later. So we have here my state update. We have a temperature, which is a data temp. They've changed this. So that's state updates, and message payload is our humidity. That's for the exit. And what is the message that we're actually receiving in here? We are receiving a message temp. Okay. So a message temp. So that's a message temp. That message temp. And our payload, it's gonna be everything that we need for a heating. So everything needed for heating needs to go from here. Ugh, I got myself confused. How to move this? So in here, I'm not going to. Okay, so in here, I'm not going to get the heating state here. So I'm not going to need this one here, and it's gonna leave as it was before. So that's gonna be better. So we're just passing a temperature so we don't mix it up, okay? So that's fine. So the temperature is message stamping here, and we received in message stamping and create a hysteresis, which we're gonna update this. So we're still passing just a message stamp, which was just here in a different format. So we don't need to format this data yet. So what we're gonna do is we're not changing anything. We're just going to update our information and pass it forward, and we're gonna do the update in the last stage. So that's gonna be much cleaner. So we're not changing anything here. We're just passing information over after updating. Okay, and now let's have a look what exactly we're receiving and how to update this. So let's get rid of this. Undefined, undefined. Why we get undefined? Message temp. Did I wipe a message temp? Message. Ah, here. There's sensor data. No, that's fine. That's okay. Shouldn't be undefined. Why it's undefined, guys? Let's trace the information. What we get in here on the temperature side. We don't have information here. Interesting. Why we don't have information here? What happened? Sensor, leading sensor. Where is leading sensor? Bedroom. Okay, this bedroom right now. We get the temperature. Yes, 23. So we get flow, get bedroom to data. Yeah, that's correct. And then we have a temperature, which is a temperature data temperature. Yes, and data who. That's fine. And we should have this defined because we get that information here. What did I break, guys? I broke something, and I don't know what I broke. Come on. Undefined. Why? Okay, I understand why it could be undefined in here, but why do I have the undefined in here? I have all the information defined. Leading sensor bedroom, again. Leading sensor bedroom. Flow get data, flow get sensor. So we're getting bedroom. So flow get bedroom. We're getting get this. Now we get temp equals to do I have a conflict here? It's supposed to be a payload. Yeah, payload. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay, that's what was the problem. Okay, so we had the problem with the payload, and so this is a payload, message payload. So we're gonna have payload here for the kicks, payload here for the kicks, and then we're gonna match this data on this side. Okay, so we're receiving correct information here, and that's fine because it's a message payload. Here, heating state. We are not needing heating state here. We agreed to this. We are not needing heating state payload. Okay, so we're just updating the value, not doing anything, just passing it over. So now we don't need this, don't need this, don't need this, and that's gonna be submitted as a payload. But we're gonna need a topic to differentiate between the delivery of the delivery between the temperature and humidity. So we can assign that payload here. So let's do payload topic, and that's temp topic, and that's gonna be better organized, I think. Okay. Oh, come on, I've fixed it. Topic, not fixed it. That's why I need it. Okay, now I can tell which one is which. So if I know which one is which, I can connect them both together and I can work with this. So first of all, we're gonna have two payloads. One's gonna have a topic and one temperature, and one's gonna have humidity. So we need to separate this. So if message topic equals temp, we're gonna do one thing, and then we're going to do another thing if we have humidity. Okay, now each time we need to get a temperature target, and we need to get the heating state, right? So I'm gonna copy this and get a heating state. Heating state. Okay, what else do we need from here? There's a heating state here. Heating state, that's okay. That's great, okay. Now, do we need anything else? We have a mode, we have a temperature. So that's gonna be like this. So if the temperature, we're gonna send the temperature, and we're not going to send the humidity. And here we're not going to send the temperature. Great. And now let's define if the heating state is on. So we're gonna have this and this. Gonna nest this twice. Like this and like this. So unmatched. Okay. Okay, just organize the code a little bit. This is closed, and this is here closed. Why are you complaining? This is closed. This is closed. Why are you complaining about unmatched? This one should be here. Why is this one's not? This is closed. There is one missing here. And secure my OCD. Okay, right. Okay, and we just need to double check on values because these values change because they stored in the payload. So, okay, so if we receive a temperature and the heating is on, we want to make sure the mode is on, and we're passing temperature and the set point, which we supposed to get. So variable set point set point, not set point, and that's our target temperature. Flow get temp target. Oh, we have set point. I'm blind. So set point is set. That's fine. And the temperature, it's gonna be it's payload. So let's just message payload. Okay. Okay. So if we're gonna get this, we need to correct this, because we have, if we get the temperature, we set the temperature and we set the temperature again, so we need to correct this. So like this. Okay. If we're gonna get humidity, we need to set the humidity like this and return message. Okay. And what's not working? What's not working? Let's see. Message payload. Let's close all the payloads. Yeah, they closed correctly. And here I've got a mistake as well. Waking off. Missed colon. Here, alright, that's fixed. Done. Now it's kicking off in here. What did I miss, guys? Alright, Sophie, thanks so much for joining in. What did I miss in here? There's a mistake in here, guys. Help me. Found it. We have to match against the heating state. Like this. Like this. And like this. Heating state, and this is this, so we should put it like that for readability, and the same with this one, put it like this. Okay, I think we have everything done. It's still complaining. I still missed something. Heating state. Okay, this is okay. I'm still missing something. I've misspelled something probably. Set point. It's done. Let's check commas. Comma. Yes. What am I missing? I don't know what I'm missing, guys. Heat off. Okay, let's reduce message payload. That looks correct. Payload, that looks correct. Return message, there's nothing else. Okay. Message payload, that looks correct. State on. State off. Message topic, yeah. And this is this, yeah. There is missing here, I think. No, it's correct. Here. That's why I've been missing. Ah, ta-da! Okay. Ha! That was tough. Alright, I think it works now. So let's test it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set it at 12 and see what happens. Don't disappoint me. Come on, let's refresh the thermostat. Yeah, it's off because it's below the threshold, so cool. They're tracking different temperature right now, which is something I need to fix as well. But now if I'm gonna, let's turn it off, on. And let's see what happened with this one. Unexpected token. Syntax error, unexpected token. I have a problem in here somewhere. I'm getting a bad payload somewhere and I don't know where, so let's investigate. I've probably added something somewhere I shouldn't. Humidity, that's fine. And let's add the one debug here and see what happens. Oh, so let's do it like this and that will work. So I wouldn't queue. Done. Okay. And now I should get a full payload. Come on. Nothing. I get nothing? Why? Temp target 24. Heating state. Falls. Heating. Ah, heating state is heating. That's what I had a problem with, you see? That's why. Heating state is heating. And heating state is heating. That's why it should be true or false from the beginning. Now I should get proper. Yeah, now it's gonna work. Okay, so let's turn it off. Okay, and let's update. And let's turn it on. Come on. Why are you not up? There is a loop somewhere. But it will stay on now. It won't turn it off, I guess. yeah, there is a loop somewhere that I need to iron out. But that's, like I said, the set point is going to be coming from this, from the, what's it called? From the thermostat itself and from Alexa. It's not going to go from here. I just wanted to have as an example. So it's going to be only modified the set point where I change the set point elsewhere. So that's how it's going to work. Well, anyway, that's how you integrate it, and that's how you feed it back. So let's disable my heating because I don't want 26 degrees. Come on. No feedback on the set point. No feedback on the set point, please. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, I think we achieved a couple of things. We achieved the fact that it's getting dark. We made me hungry. We made me in the need of coffee. But I hope you enjoyed that live session. I need to connect the set point now with a widget. But in order to do it, like I said, like you've noticed that there was a problem. It was a heating instead of on and off. I did it a long time ago. And I should have used true or false, because that way you don't have to hunt for values. And that was, I think, one of the biggest mistakes I did so far with this. And so that's why I'm going to fix, and that's going to be a boring fix, so I'm not going to do it on camera. But yeah, all you have to do now is just link the slider, set point. I'll show you here. So the slider that changes the values here, just you link this and convert it to a set point to thermostat, and that way you have a live values when you change it, and then you don't have a loop. That's how you do it. Okay, it's been a fabulous 3 hours. Wow, that time went through really quick. Thanks so much everyone that actually joined and stayed and entertained me and helped me out. I appreciate it a lot. It's much more fun when you kind of have an audience and you can talk to someone than doing it on your own. I hope you've picked up a couple of things and I've explained a couple of things for you so you could understand NodeRED better and maybe play a little bit more with Java next. Yeah, I don't mind doing it more often if you guys have to. Like, I kind of get it's not the most exciting video stream or whatever, because you know, it's just me trying to code things, and I don't know how much of interest you get out of it. But I figured I'm gonna do it on a live stream and see what happens. There's a couple of things that I think tomorrow I'm gonna post about inching. Inching is when you switch something on for a couple of minutes and then off automatically. I set myself a challenge because someone asked me a hack space how to achieve it, and I've set myself a goal, so I've created an inching. I can show you kind of like so this is it. It's so this is it. It's let me just get rid of this. Oh, that's right. So this is it. It's very small, but it's very interesting. And what it does is, where we have it, we need to go here, and then to go to tab 1. And this switch, after 10 seconds, will switch itself on. So you can see a single payload through, and after 10 seconds, it will go to off position. But you're also only gonna issue off 1, which was quite difficult to achieve. But yeah, that's inching. Come on. Do I have to set the timeout, or this timeout is set? Let's have a look. Timeout 10 seconds. What just happened? Let's investigate out of curiosity. I'm just professional curiosity. Let's just deploy this, and let's deploy the timeout. Reset this, okay, and let's try it. So let's clear this and let's give it a go. So at 10 seconds, we should turn it off. Come on. That's tension per second. So it will reset itself. So you can, right now it's not going to send the second payload after 10 seconds. So that was another thing I wanted. So when you do this, it will start 10-second timer. It will cancel the timer. If you do this, it will start another 10-second timer. It's not going to continue a new timer, and it will only issue a single payload each time. So even if it's timed itself out, it will only just send a single payload. So that's how it works. It's quite interesting, and you can use it. This is a good something you would have, for example, for garage, to automatically open the garage and close it within like next, I don't know, 5 minutes. So that's the engine is for. All right, I gotta say goodbye, and I'm gonna eat something because I'm starving. It was a pleasure, guys, and I'll see you pretty soon. Take care and stay safe. Bye.